Hi there, my name is Thom Bierdz. I'm an artist, president of the American Art Awards.
He was one of daytime's rising stars on the Young and the Restless. Then Thom Bierdz suddenly walked away.
He was one of soap opera's biggest stars. It was 1986. He was on top of the soap opera world.
I don't understand.
Every major soap magazine and thousands of fans wanted a piece of him. But after 3 years, at the peak of his career as Phillip Chancellor on The Young and the Restless, a murder in his hometown of Kenosha, Wisconsin, shatters his world.
An art therapy workshop led by professional painter Thom Bierdz.
That's beautiful. See the different colors coming out there?
Bierdz turned to the canvas after a tragedy of his own, a schizophrenic brother who murdered their mom.
You don't remember the particular moments that you killed her is because you were killing her for years subconsciously.
What gave you the strength to be sitting here today?
The paintbrush became Bierd's therapy.
Because it keeps me right in the moment there. I'm not thinking about what happened in the past. Come on, boy. Come on, boy. These days, I live full-time in Lake Arrowhead, California. Such a beautiful place. As a full-time artist, painting is my passion. So let's get right to showing you these paintings. And intermittently, when it's relevant, there's going to be some more news clips. All right, thank you. Bye. I have probably painted 1,000 paintings in the past 30 years. Does that sound like a lot? Did you know Picasso created 40,000 artworks? 40,000? Can you imagine if Picasso put out a video saying these are my top 100 most collectible paintings? Can you imagine what those would be worth? As president of the American Art Awards, I see thousands of artists' work every year. And finally, my art has evolved to a very unique, recognizable style. And that's why I'm so excited to show you this. Sure, I paint portraits and near realism as well, but so do many artists. Picasso and Warhol painted traditional near realism too, but they broke away from that to claim their own style. My new style is emotional expressionism, then black and white impressionism vignettes over that, and then another layer or two of geometric shapes. All these are 24 by 18-inch oil and acrylic and share the theme of consciousness and spirituality. Here they are, the top 100 most collectible paintings in alphabetical order. Not long after the 9/11 tragedy, I did this painting questioning how people would react differently to death. I'd like to believe spiritual people can glide into the afterlife avoiding the horror. Redoing this painting in 2015, I wanted to make it less literal, so I removed the main 4 eyes. With an intent to make busier canvases, I added many characters here, and for a geometric element, I added 2 green squares. Partially inspired by Matisse, in 2004 I did this pastel party scene. But making this a defined Bierdz as far as my artistic style goes, I added an impressionistic figure and activity around that, and I also added a geometric shape. This spilled out of me in 2004. I added an old man in braids, and then I added geometric lines and squiggles. You can see here in my initial landscape painting my affinity for geometry. In updating that, adding a lot of rich oils to it. I also wanted to unify these trees by giving them a conversation. Red ovals and the scraped white parts explain wear and tear, trajectory, evolvement. Most people believe the universe has one creator. In 2004, I painted that creator spinning planets from a trapeze, asking if the universe could be a little more happenstance than delegated. Many years of spiritual studying afterwards, I decided to add more trapezes in front of the creator because I believe we are all creators creating our worlds. In the top left corner, I see my deceased mother. I'm the figure next to her. Because we both had focused willpower, we were able to reach through dimensions and connect. Transforming this into my new recognizable Bierdz style, I added a black and white impressionistic face, geometric shapes, as well as orbs and white energy lines. Is there alien life? That question is far more visually interesting with the addition of a spaceship, a building, and men in black. Adding the white square removes some of the visual context, but adds the Bierdz stamp, making the whole piece very contemporary and collectible. Aren't we all on a checkerboard of life, contemplating our moves, being accountable? In hindsight, being able to see which move created which outcome. I took away the wall and sent this checkerboard into the galaxy, questioning the very existence of material objects. Could this Earth game be nothing more than mind projections? Wow, I've had the honor of working with Jeanne Cooper, one of the soap opera greats. Jeanne Cooper has played Catherine Chancellor on The Young and the Restless for over 40 years, and she recently passed away. I'm grateful for all the time that I had with you. But we could have had more time.
He was recently back in front of the camera for this photo shoot, at which E.T. arranged this surprise visit from Jeanne Cooper, his favorite co-star from The Young and the Restless.
This lady helped me so much. I didn't want to make this just a pretty picture because she was a lot more than just a pretty picture. I decided I wanted to do her face in black and white because she was a star on the soap when it was black and white, and she was even in westerns, in black and white westerns. I didn't know why I was painting the stairs crooked, but now I see it as a subconscious metaphor for the stairwell to stardom. I tripped up those stairs and I tripped down those stairs. I admired Jeanne mostly because 99% of actors trip down those stairs and Jeanne stayed on top. I dressed her in a regal gown because she was the grande dame of soaps and her character was very ritzy. There's a subliminal suggestion of angel wings in the arrangement of the jewels behind her back. I borrowed the pose and dress from a 1970s painting of another actress, but I did not want to add a paper in her hand or a desk because that would have been far too traditional. I wanted one hand passive and one hand aggressive, because I think Jeanne showed that that is one way to get through life with so much success. After 9/11, planes flying by buildings became as terrifying as sharks or killer whales. This painting shows that fear is addicting, and we can be as damaged by our fearful thoughts as by actual fearful things happening. This is titled Alliance. The white line here indicates the energy of a shared concentration, which extends beyond them and into the forest. My homage to a famous Matisse painting turned out interesting enough, but adding a figure, frames, and geometry give it an extraordinary composition and cycle of movement, which is why it is in my top 100 most collectible works. This is my ode to wacky Van Gogh, but I seriously love Van Gogh, and I've cried looking at his works in person. There's just so much going on, there's no rest. And to think he only sold one painting while he was alive. No idea how famous and beloved he would become. I did this color book style expressionism as a tribute to Warhol. The red face on the lower left is Warhol. This is Awakening. I received many compliments on my black and white portrayal here of a man in a peaceful surrounding on a boat. I wanted to add a layer of universal proportionality to this. The swirls here are indicative of the primordial swirl that is all through fractal geometry. The impressionistic figure of the baby suggests that very early we decide what are our limits and restrictions. My initial version of this belief in Eden painting hinted at my affinity for cross-patterning, which I was so excited to strengthen and add layers to. I'm fascinated by all the studies about music and the power of sound, the healing associated with sounds. The studies on morphic resonance, absolutely astounding. Blurred. I am aware that even though this guy is opening up a conch shell, it certainly looks like a phallic symbol. There's a lot of phallic symbols in my work because I'm still rebelling against the shaming of Catholicism. My father, who's a psychiatrist, and his wife, who's a school teacher, asked me to take over for them in watching Grandpa while they took a vacation cruise. And when they came back, I showed them that I did this painting, which is obviously them. I just think it's so funny that I am so audacious in what I paint. I don't edit, you know. I've never seen them naked. That won't stop my brush from going there. And here I questioned monogamy. I questioned the confines of monogamy. Bowling Casanova. I can't say I relate to this in any way, but I really love how the activity and the composition eventually turned out. I painted this after overcoming some very serious asthma issues. And the idea of open windows and open shutters and all this freeing ambience, I thought that'd be a good opportunity to add a gay romance where one man is a bit unsure of opening up.
Almost every weekend, 20 years ago, I would fly to different malls in the country and I would sign autographs. One time in Toronto, 7,000 people showed up. And a girl asked a question. She said, do you have a girlfriend? And I said, no. And they screamed excitedly, you know, because they thought I was straight and I wanted them to believe I was straight. I could not tell them that my boyfriend was right there in the audience supporting me.
Here I painted a married man as a predator and experimented with cubism, bringing all these wonderful lines and colors to the surface. This circus of the married man actually has a companion piece here, so they come together. We can frame them separately, or you can have them together like this. I really love the cross patterning and the energy going on here. This initial expressionistic painting of a psychic was pretty self-explanatory, contacting haloed beings. But I needed to update that to my recognizable style, so I added 4 black and white impressionistic figures and a geometric square. This is Clarity, and then the updated version here. My brother, who eventually killed himself, was sucked into a very unhealthy relationship.
When Thom's other brother, Craig, committed suicide.
He was sitting on the closet floor. He had shot himself through his mouth in a depression.
He transformed into kind of a rabbit, a scared rabbit, and the gold ropes confining him became this clown mouth, and I added clown eyes and a clown nose, because forcing anybody to love you is such a ridiculous thing. Loosely inspired by Jennifer Aniston and Paris Hilton, there's this couple that is holding a hose. I didn't actually know where this was going to go. I just knew that it wasn't enough. So I kept adding shapes until I arrived at this, which I really like. And to me, the green strips almost look like tape. My initial expressionistic painting here of different sized faces and bodies had some emotional resonance, but nothing about it was real special. But by giving them a shared activity, this shows the power of community to not only create their world from shared dialogue, but to work together to actually alter physical matter. This Halloween-inspired painting got a complete overhaul and now speaks to how the prisons of consciousness are infectious. I couldn't find an image of the original painting because I never liked it very much. It was of an airplane with a floral propeller. It has evolved into a statement about being stuck in dysfunctional patterns. And speaking of patterns, I hope you see the 6 white toilet seat covers. I can't find an image of the original painting to show you here, but her face was very different. Very big eyes, very innocent looking. I added the lines for a cubism feel. I wanted to make a statement about material possessions, and the more that we have, the more we fear losing them. The more her money increases, the more cynical she becomes of people on the outside who may want something from her. This painting is about desire, not only in this life, but desire in the afterlife as well. Desperation brings one into a nightmare. Who wants to gamble in a nightmare of desperation? What good can come from it? I really liked this Picasso-like painting, and the truth is, if the signature on it was Picasso, this same painting would sell for millions of dollars. So to brand it collectible as a Bierdz, I added repetitive pickets, presenting the idea that when one carries around doubt, it's like walking outside with pickets pointed at you from every direction. This was one of my favorite paintings that I did in 2004. I loved the cross patterning, and people compared it to Matisse. But to make it a collectible Bierdz on my top 100 most collectible pieces, I needed to add a few things. Epigenetics is a fascinating new aspect of science. Dr. Bruce Lipton has many YouTube videos explaining the studies that prove that our genes are not decided by DNA, but turned on by the environment, including our consciousness can decide what facets of the gene to turn on. In Exhilaration and Lust, I painted two men who find sexual freedom in the dark where nobody else can see them. To update this, I added a swing motif, which is up for interpretation. Does it mean their long ago childhood recess fantasies have come true? Or are they swingers? People have compared my floral vibration to Hockney meets Matisse. But to make this a signature Bierdz, I added repetitive energy lines, again inferring that all things are made of vibrational fields, certainly plants, but vases and tables as well. There was nothing particularly special about this 2004 painting of a girl on a phone, so I had a great deal of fun adding layers to represent society's diet obsessions. When I paint expressionism, my subconscious spills out and I don't always understand it. Even in the updated version of this, I can't tell you why I painted any of it. But it seemed to me the title should have something to do with green card. And as far as I can tell, green card can have a couple meanings here. Green card can mean an international marriage, or it can mean a credit card. When I first painted this and first saw this, I thought it spoke about the vulnerability of the customer and the tenderness of the barber. Those themes haven't changed, even with the added images and aura lines. But most people today can certainly relate to having a business meeting going on in their head, even when they're at the barber.
This one wishes he had tennis balls, he wants bones, and this one wants apples. I hear some dogs like apples. I've got a dog that likes carrots, not apples, but we got apples here. So it's a privilege to be here.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
This reminded me of Matisse, but it was missing a focal point, which is now the heaviest man in the world, my interpretation of a photograph of him found online. It asks the difference between abundance and indulgence. This has always been one of my favorite paintings. But to update it, I wanted to take away some aspects I felt were too literal. Removing the view adds interest as well as a geometric shape. I faded the chairs and removed a floor tile, consistent with this whole series questioning the materialization of consciousness. I'm only guessing that this may have been a depiction of me feeling out of sorts with my masculinity. But it became a statement of how separated species can share compassion. What was originally a study in keeping positive in transportation. That squeak is my dog playing with his toy. You got a toy? You got a toy? The new illustration now shows how anger attracts anger. What was originally a bisexual torn between lovers became an uncomfortable arrangement of glasses and countless eyes. Maybe the blue square signifies a tranquility that's out of reach. We're all here for the ride. Why not be a light traveler? That's 50 done, 50 more to go. Halftime, let's take a break. If you are watching this and you're not an art collector, I appreciate your eyes on my work. All artists feel vindicated to have their art studied, and you are also seeing my spirit, my beliefs. I hope you find it inspiring, and by all means, please share this video. If you are an art collector, in the next minute, I'm going to answer some of your questions. Even though I have painted my whole life, this particular series is valued at $5,000 a piece because some Bierdz paintings have been selling for that for 10 years, since Scarlett Johannson hosted my gallery opening.
Here with Thom Bierdz. Thom, thank you so much for coming in.
Sure, my pleasure to be here.
You are just amazing. Your artwork is phenomenal. It has that impressionist quality to it. Just so wonderful. I know that there are a lot of also, celebrities who are collecting your art.
It's true. Many celebrities own Bierdses, and my very impressive list of collectors is at thombierdz.com. Please check it out.
My latest mission takes place in the world in which millions of dollars change hands every year. The LA art scene. Juan Rosillo's downtown art gallery is home to the work of some of LA's most renowned artists. Juan's challenged me to test his security by trying to steal a painting from his gallery. I reveal our target for this job, the House of Doria, a painting by Thom Bierdz, one of LA's hottest young artists. It's exactly the type of thing that thieves would target because it's only going to get more valuable as time goes by.
One more thing, art gains value in recognition, and this YouTube video, which should be around forever and maybe get 1 million hits, substantiates these pieces as my top 100 most collectible paintings. It'll always be that. This video will always be here. My art has also been on occasional TV shows like Hollywood Squares, and my paintings are in my book and will be in the movie of my life, which is in development. All right, let's get back to the top 100 most collectible paintings and periodic news clips.
Okay. So, 58. And sir, he said he'd be happy to do another original for 55. God bless you. That's our note to be adopted.
This was more of an abstract than it was an expressionism. But taking blue paint and adding a profile made it like an underwater meditation. Progression of the selfie. Things got ugly when my ex-lover started to manage my career. But I turned it into a very pretty painting with blue accents, red squares, and a chair roped in plastic. Who defines beauty? Even in 2004, there was a lot going on in this painting. But More is More can describe all the works in my top 100 most collectible paintings. I'm a huge fan of Oprah and have watched her show spin people of all colors into success. I would want her marred face here to represent her many struggles. Her own rise from misfortune to unparalleled success is such an inspiration. Okay, this would be me as a parent. No thanks. What did I get myself into? I don't want to do this. No. Can I return this, please? When I lived in crowded Hollywood for almost 30 years, nothing got me more upset than getting parking tickets I felt I didn't deserve. But as an avid student of spirituality, I tried to see every negative thing as a positive thing. I don't think the mass populace understands how much power is in their choosing. And here I show two different reactions to a parking ticket. One man swings his gun furiously, and the other just pleads for grace. We are far more than atoms, vibrational fields, quarks, squarks, sleptons, gravitinos, gravitons, leptons, photons. I thought this was very pretty in 2004, but I had to add a lot to it for it to fit in my top 100 most collectible paintings. I love it now. Social mores, traditions, conformity, these can all be very limiting to free thinkers. Two rules. One, cause no harm. Two, make yourself happy. Take care of you. When you make yourself so happy, you don't care what other people do, and they don't have to make you happy. Here is somebody tending her garden, but more absorbed in her reflections and memories. I grew up in Wisconsin, now live in the California mountains, and did many paintings trying to capture the peaceful solitude of nature. But I wanted to show here that one could go anywhere. First step is visualizing. Sometimes an overactive mind finds peace in restriction. But bondage can be anything from a titillation to a comfort zone to a dysfunctional pattern. I feel caught between spiritual teachers that say, don't row upstream, just go with the flow, and the motivational speakers that say, faster, harder. Initially, I titled this Dancing Trees. In my autobiography titled Forgiving Troy, I share how I was eventually able to forgive my paranoid schizophrenic brother Troy after he killed our wonderful mom. Visiting him in prison, I became his big brother, trying to pull him out of the darkest place.
And you've also written a book.
Yeah, and we're meeting producers on the movie version.
Now, how would you feel about this becoming a movie?
I have been through a great deal, and so much of it has been good as well. Accepting my brother back and the relationship we have, I almost feel an obligation to share such a big story.
I saw a family in this abstract, and I turned it into an illustration of dependency on Western medicine.
What gave you the strength to be sitting here today?
You know, I'm not sure of that. I'm gay, and as a young child, sometimes if you're gay, you separate, because being raised Catholic, I was told I was going to hell. So you kind of put a distance between you, and you learn to be more of a survivor.
Interesting.
That may be the reason. Yeah.
Many soldiers who return from war are never the same. They often regret the violence. This was the backyard that we grew up in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And many of these personal paintings are in my autobiography, Forgiving Troy. I added a lot of patterns and shadows to this, and also repeated the geometric round circle, making some of these orbs or lanterns. It mixes time periods and styles, and there are actually two faces in it. This expressionistic floral had a crown for a vase and a sexy leather harness, and eventually became this vagina. This tells of a person on a bridge at a crossroads, making a decision. In the lower right corner, there seems to be a figure watching. I repeated a white rectangle, painting one of them to be a literal light switch, inferring the power of our conscious minds to make swift decisions. These four Madonnas are actually four different paintings for one price. They can be arranged any way you like, maybe in the form of one of my pop quads like this, or they could be framed separately. Because I've always been a big believer in life after death, this canvas was about a spirit guide bringing my mother to see us. And now there are so many colors and angles added, including the primordial swirl. It's just beautiful. My brother killed our mom in the kitchen with a baseball bat, so I'm sure this indicates that. He said she was a nag. But I intentionally tried to hide the gravity in this piece. The numbing by overstimulus. That's pretty much why I left Hollywood after 29 years. And now I live in an isolated cabin in the woods painting pictures.
Hollywood lights replaced with Lake Arrowhead trees. Bierdz retreats to what he calls his treehouse and invites me into his home and into his conscience.
First, there's a black and white winter scene. Second, hinted at the top and the bottom, there's a black and white cityscape. Third, it's like you're below water looking up and seeing all these orange swimmers and surfboards. And a fourth level is 9 evenly spaced squares with swirls. As a fifth layer, some of these blue squares with swirls can be eyes and many large dreamlike faces. If everything is made up of vibrational fields, then thoughts and emotions can create real things. So on some level, Santa does exist. I think this was about trying to get into the box for spirit contact. And now it's about coming out of the box and transitioning into a whole new life. For years I asked, why is it so hard for spirit contact? And I was shown an image of a cord being plugged in. What that said to me is when we take the earth form, we are plugged into a certain specific current. So beings that are not on earth are plugged into a different current. But anything is possible. I saw my mother's spirit in the blue face breaking away from linear time. After the addition of 3 red squares and 24 open shutters and a silhouette running into a tunnel of light, this speaks to me more about near-death experiences that millions of people have. When you feel so good, people think you're crazy. There's never just one way to solve a problem, right? If you find a job that you love, it never feels like work. That's how I am with my painting, especially this style. This whole series is Pentimento, which means obviously painting over previous art. I don't love acting like I love painting, but every once in a while I'm on the set.
Young The Restless, our Entertainment Tonight cover story.
And you felt trapped.
In my own skin. That's what I'm talking about. Who am I? You guys don't know who I am. You don't know who I am. Put on some clothes, all right? I want to get something to eat before we go to that gallery opening.
Let's get naked.
I'm stuffed. Baby, let's just cuddle. And watch some TV.
Oh, hey, baby. Hey, Nathan, how you doing?
Hey, Bobby. Good.
Would you join us for lunch?
No, you know, I've got a lot of
Looks good.
Oh, but, I mean, I could just get her.
If you could live a life not hurting others, why wouldn't you? When someone chooses to avoid negativity and drama and to focus and act out of positivity, they can find themselves in a vortex, a wonderful vortex where things continually go good. As a young black athlete, Bill Cosby overcame major racial walls and prejudice. And now, at the end of his career, there are so many walls that he has up. And I am fascinated because I do not know the inner workings of that story. Science has said energy doesn't die, it just transforms itself. Is that how we are as humans? Do we just keep existing on other planes? And if so, imagine being able to tap into all that experience and wisdom. There are theories that say you can't prove anything exists outside of yourself. So everything outside of you may well be like a computer projection. Even me, even these images you're seeing right now, they might not really exist. They just may be delusions of your mind. To end this series of the 100 most collectible Thom Bierdz paintings, Conversations on Consciousness, let's just say that as far as we know, there are no limits.
So starring this guy's paintings now are going all over the country and around the world.
Tonight in this historic event, everybody, Thom Bierdz did this.
Fuck the painting.
Why is so hot?
Should be a nice event tonight. Thanks, guys.
Nice one. Back here live, you can see Thom's work through this weekend. His paintings and the variety of styles may catch you off guard.
Thank you for watching. I so appreciate that. I feel that if I were to die, I've got an organized legacy here. You know, this is my best contribution I can make as an artist and a spiritually seeking man. If a gallery referred you to this video and you'd like to know which pieces are still available, they have that info and can answer any questions. If a gallery did not send you, you can go right to my website and find out which pieces are available, and there's a link there to contact me directly. Now for a quick review, here they all are again, very quickly, the top 100 most collectible paintings.